I play a lot of games just for the achievements. It's a bit of a theme on this channel. Of course, that didn't stop me spending a week 100%ing it. It's the never-ending pile of games I've played solely for achievements. Well, this is in fact the reason that most adults still play LEGO games, so may as well touch on it. It's a way of gaming that I think a few people will find completely relatable, but most will find very bizarre. To me, it's simple though. I like seeing the numbers go up. I like the satisfaction of 100%. I am past competing with anyone. I have about 4 times more than the highest person on my friends list, who also happens to be my podcast host. Click the link here. Or preferably wait till the end of the video where it'll be in the end cards. So really, it's only for my own self-indulgence. As a result of this, I play a lot of small indie games. The truth is, Gamerscore is a completely broken number thanks to the decision to make all games start at a base of 1,000, which means a game like Battlefront 2, which requires about 150 hours minimum, is worth the same amount as Bird Game Plus, which can give you the same amount in about an hour. Initially, I thought this was really stupid, and if you just follow the numbers, it is. That's why True Achievements implements its own system to assign achievements more closely to their actual value. But the truth is, following the numbers has exposed me to a huge variety of games that I probably never would have played otherwise. I like shooters, I like action RPGs. If achievements didn't exist, these would be the games I play exclusively. But instead I've played a huge host of games from all different genres. Some of them I've enjoyed a lot, some of them not so much. I've only ever rated one of them 5 stars, and that game is Wandersong. The reason I set all that up is so you can understand my mindset going into this game. I wasn't looking for a fun game, I was looking for a quick 1000G. And in a curious twist, I think the game knew that too. So what is Wandersong? Well, according to Google, it's a puzzle adventure game released on September 27th, 2018. I'd never heard of it, and why would I have? I don't move in indie darling circles. No, the first time I ever saw this game was its port to Xbox One on December 5th, 2019. Another game for the 100% pile, I thought. What I got instead was a lot more than I was expecting. Wandersong is a game where you don't play the hero. The opening of the game sets this up along with the tone of the game very well. You wake up, you find a sword. There's a big monster, so being a proper gamer, you hit the big monster with the sword. It flies out of your hands. So you sing to the monster instead. An angelic figure appears before you and says this was a test. You're obviously not the hero, but she thinks you're cute, so that's something. This game is about a lot of things. Puzzles, friendship, depression, accepting one's place in the world, self-identity, platforming, comedy, destiny. You could even read a global warming analogy into it if you wanted to, but at its core, the game is a critique of the violent path and what it means to be a hero. Let me show you an example. The first real challenge you face in the game is a town that's being haunted by ghosts. The solution in any other game would be obvious. Pull out your sword and send those spooky f***ers back to hell. But you're a bard. You don't have a sword. So you sing. The truth is that the ghosts didn't come here to harm anyone. They're ghosts. They don't just haunt towns for no reasons. They came to spend time with their loved ones, because the end of the world is coming. Wait, hang on a minute. Had you gone and banished those ghosts, sure it would have been a solution. The villagers might have been happy temporarily, but the ghosts sure wouldn't have. By choosing a non-violent option, the townsfolk and the ghosts can be comforted for the end of the world. Yeah, hold on a sec, could you go back to that last bit? Oh, that's right, this game is about the apocalypse. So here's your explanation. The world is watched over by 7 overseers in the spirit world. As the world grows old, so do they. They become corrupted and start to spawn monsters, eventually becoming monsters themselves, shadowy and corrupted forms. When this happened, a hero is ordained by the god of this world, Ea, to kill the overseers and usher in the end. When the overseers die, so does the world, and the cycle begins again. It's a plot straight out of Dark Souls, and in any other game you would be playing the hero ushering in the end. But this isn't any other game. There is no big twist reveal that the bard was really the hero. You meet the real hero about a third of the way into the game and she's hunting down those overseers. The bard has a different goal. He doesn't want the world to end. And as a player exploring it with its wacky and lovable cast of characters, you probably don't want it to either. The Rainbow Girl tells you how to save it. You need to collect the 7 pieces of the Earth song, one from each of the overseers, and sing it. but the world has to be in complete harmony for it to work. This is obviously an impossible task. First problem is that the first Overseer you meet, the Dream King, refuses to teach you his piece. And second, asking that the entire world be in peace is obviously impossible. But this is the non-violent path, and it's the only one with a chance of succeeding. What else are you gonna do? Time and time again, the game shows that the non-violent path is the longer and more difficult option, but it's also the correct one. A troll blocks your path. Your companion Miriam could blast it with magic and be done in 5 seconds. But the bard says no. He sings to the troll instead, and the troll lets you pass. He was only mad because the last person through the caves cursed his boyfriend with lightning. This dude has tied up your friendly pirate crew. Once again, violence is absolutely an option, but instead you bring the guy a cup of coffee and let him talk through his feelings. He's just feeling really insecure that his wife left him. The game goes so far with this later that the bard refuses help from a troll because he would have to squish some bugs. But it pays off and the bugs end up helping out, even though in the short term it makes the level obviously longer and more challenging. But if we really want to talk about this theme, we need to talk about Audrey. Audrey is the hero of Destiny. She holds a big lightning sword and she's on a quest to hunt down the Overseers. In every way possible, she's opposite of the bard. She's rude, she's powerful, and she's absolutely sure of what she's doing. She is the embodiment of the violent path. Where you took the time to talk to the trolls to solve their problem, she zapped it with lightning. Where you try to talk to each of the Overseers, she attacks them without a second thought about it. Her method is faster, more fun, and completely incorrect. After all, the end result of this is the end of the world. Audrey could easily come off as a flat-off villain, but the game does something really interesting to combat that. For one brief segment, you play as Audrey. You see what she sees. Later on, Miriam explains that the spirit realm isn't actually physical. It appears as you perceive it. The bard sees it as a place of beauty and puzzles that can be solved with song. Audrey sees it as a series of hallways full of monsters. This segment shows you exactly why Audrey is doing what she's doing. It's a big castle full of monsters. Of course you're going to fight through them all. More than that, though, playing as Audrey is fun. She's faster than the bard. She can dash. She can shoot lightning. The music swells into the most bombastic tunes in the whole game. There's one more thing too, but I need to explain something first. So far the game has been very lax on achievements. They seem somewhat random. The first one you get is right at the start of Act 2 after talking to the troll, after which you get an achievement. Defeated the troll. Of course, I assumed this was a joke, because you hadn't defeated the trolls. The next is halfway through Act 3, when you get out of the ruins that were supposed to be home to a giant monster, only you never saw one. You get an achievement for defeating the boss of the ruins. Again, I assumed this was a joke, but the third one is really when it hits you. Literally. Just when you're about to talk to Queen Chaos, the third Overseer, is when you meet Audrey. She slashes it down before you ever get a chance to talk to it, and you get an achievement for killing Queen Chaos. The game isn't tracking your achievements, it's tracking Audrey's. So when you play the small section with Audrey, after about 2 to 3 hours of basically no achievements, you get easily half the achievements in the game. You get achievements for hitting enemies, you get achievements for charging your sword, you get an achievement for jumping 10 times, and then you get another one for jumping 40 times. The game is using achievements to reinforce a point. I think it's safe to not only say this is the cleverest use of achievements I've ever seen, but it might in fact be the only clever use of achievements I've ever seen. This is the game that I thought I wanted. A short and easy 1000G, and the game was turning it against me. From this point on, an achievement isn't a reason to celebrate, it's a reminder that you're losing. Throughout the game, the bard keeps trying to convince Audrey that she can stop, that to be a real hero would be to let him save the world. She can't do it. She wants that 100% completion just like I did when I started the game. Audrey is me in almost every game I've ever played. I killed at least 400 people in different ways just for achievements in Far Cry Primal. Had I been playing as Audrey the whole time, I would have destroyed this wonderful and thoughtful world without a second thought just to add it to my pile. This is the final way that the game reinforces the violent path. It's faster, easier, fun, and at least superficially rewarding. But Audrey is wrong, and she's going to destroy everything, and there's nothing you can say that will change her mind. This is another bump on the peaceful path. Some people just can't be convinced to change their ways, and you just have to accept it. On the other hand, some people can. At the beginning of Act 5, a ghost tells you to deliver a message to the King of Rule to stop their war with Chondesh. She pleads with him to stop, but he refuses, so she asks you to do the same with the Queen of Chandesh. She refuses too. Hatred and bias have blinded them to the option of peace. Only by bringing them together and showing them the harm that the war is causing to the people on both sides can they see the path of peace. Well, that and the external threat of giant monsters. The point is, you should always try, even if it seems impossible. And the game doesn't shy away from conceding that sometimes violence really is the only option either. With the end of the world comes monsters, and they can't be reasoned with. They've got no interest in talking. This is the only time in the whole game where you help kill something as the bard, because if you don't, people are going to get hurt.
The monster is climate change.
But come on, all this is fine and dandy, but you can't save the world on your own just by being nice to everyone. Well, no. The path of peace isn't one you can walk alone, nor would you want to. In the end, you don't get the Earth Song, but you get something new. In the final moments of the world, you sing, and everyone from your travels joins you. This is the Wander Song. It's the culmination of your journey. The Path of Violence is about the goal, a tunnel vision straight to the end. But the Path of Peace is about the journey, about taking your time, soaking in everything that the world has to offer. Games are intrinsically linked to violence. I don't expect that to change, nor do I want it to really. I like violent games. But in an era dominated by shooters and stabbers, Wander Song dares to ask, if the non-violent path can't be just as fun, and it answers that question with a resounding yes. Oh, and in case it wasn't clear from the rest of the video, play Wander Song. It's really good.
Well, Kyle, ladies and gentlemen, this is our Christmas episode. Conveniently also happens to be a Star Wars episode. So we all know what we're here for. Good luck, everyone, because I think me and Kyle are going to disagree in some things and agree greatly in others. It's going to be great.